Hi, vinyl community. Today we're going to showcase our first video. It's going to be in different installments as we have a large vinyl soundtrack collection. So, anyways, we're going to do horror today. And of course, this is always ever growing, so there will be more down the road. Anyways, our first one up is John Carpenter's The Thing, music by Ennio Morricone. Pretty sought after, hard to find. Wonderful though. They've done at least 2 different reissues for this album, I believe. Return of the Living Dead came out in 1985, put up by I think it's IRS or Restless Records, or no, I'm sorry, Enigma. Anyways, wonderful album. Introduced a lot of people to punk rock. It certainly did for me. TSOL, The Cramps, Flesh Eaters, great album. It's a must-have if you're collecting vinyl horror. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 came out in 1986. This one through IRS Records. This is the album that really changed my life and introduced me into so many new bands, as soundtracks usually do with a lot of people. Wonderful album. Very hard to get. So scoop that up if you have the money. Damien Omen 2 music by Jerry Goldsmith. Truly one of the creepiest albums I think I've ever listened to. Hands down, one of the scariest. You'll definitely love this one. If you have the means, get it. The Amityville Horror, music by Lalo Schifrin. Fantastic stuff. Sort of in the vein of like the Amityville Horror, or I'm sorry, Poltergeist. It's got the children laughing in certain songs. Very creepy. What's the shot? This is actually also was getting a little harder to find. And speaking of hard to find, Creepshow, music by John Harrison. Of course, there have been several reissues of this, a lot of them starting off on CD, and then, of course, Waxworks, what they did with it. Very nice, but I'm not a huge fan of reissues, so I like the old school ones. This is definitely old school. And, of course, put up by Varese Sarabande, the leaders of soundtracks, in my opinion. But very good. And, again, hard to find, Dawn of the Dead. 1978, put out again by Varese Sarabande, music by Goblin, and there are so many reissues done with this album, a lot of bootlegs. So if you can find the original, if you have the money, by all means get it. This is my prized possession. Love it. Day of the Dead, music by John Harrison, also who did Creepshow. This is a really good album. A lot different from Dawn of the Dead. This one's really heavy on the synthesizers, but still good nonetheless. Then you have the Dawn of the Dead. I believe this came out in 2006. Music by Tyler Bates. Very cool little album. You can find this one a lot at, like, I think Hot Topics had this, and of course the vinyl that it comes with is it's colored vinyl, so it's just like this orange. Really nice. Maniac Cop, which was sealed until a few hours ago when I finally had to open it up and give it a listen to. Very good album, music by Jay Chataway. I believe they did 3 of these movies. But yeah, this one here, definitely one of a kind. And Psycho 2, music by Jerry Goldsmith. This is a fantastic album. Anything that Jerry Goldsmith really touches is fantastic. I love all of his musical scores. This is one of his better ones, I believe. You'd be surprised. And it's a promotional copy. Sometimes I point those out. Nice to have. The Swarm, again, music by Jerry Goldsmith. This is one of those movies that came out back in the late 70s, early 80s when insects were the big thing again. But yeah, not too bad of an album. It's Alive 2 by Bernard Herrmann. Fantastic score. Of course, Bernard Herrmann did a lot of other. He did soundtrack to what was it? Vertigo, North by Northwest. A wonderful composer, and just a fantastic album to have. Next up, Poltergeist, music again by Jerry Goldsmith, and everyone is familiar with Carol Ann's theme. If you've heard it, you know the child laughter at the very end. Very spooky album, very good. The Fly, music by Howard Shore, again released through Varese Sarabande. Fantastic album. Very epic score. Next up, Cat People. Of course, this copy here has a little bit of ring wear, but the album itself is in fantastic condition. I don't really know a whole lot to say about this album. It's that we gave it a listen to a while back, and it was actually very, very good. The movie, not so much. But still a good album. And again, with movies that aren't so great, The Exorcist 2, The Heretic. But the score more than makes up for it. A little promotional copy that I picked up. But yeah, very nice. The music is pretty... Yeah, it can get annoying, actually. I'll be honest with you. After a while, by the time you get to side 2, you're just ready for it to be over with. Sort of like the movie. Fright Night. Great album. One of those horror movies that came out in the mid-'80s. A lot of different bands on here. Jay Giles Band, Sparks, Autograph. Oh, yeah, April Wine. Not too bad. Candyman. Candyman 1 and 2. Great albums. These were, of course, they're not reissues. They never came out with a soundtrack for them, but fantastic. Gatefold. It's got colored vinyl in here. I believe this one is the gray. And Candyman 2, if I remember right. Let's see here. I think this is a gray vinyl also. Oh yeah, no, it's the gray and yellow. Really, really cool. And these are actually, and I really like these, that you have these companies like Mondo and Waxworks that are coming out and putting out music for movies that didn't have soundtracks back then. They just didn't have the money. Usually if a movie wanted a soundtrack, it had to do relatively well. Some were supposed to have soundtracks and never happened. Gremlins by Jerry Goldsmith. Again, this is one of those essentials that if you have soundtracks, you have to have Gremlins. And I've lumped this in with the horror category because, well, it definitely has some horrifying elements to the movie. But fantastic. They're actually, again, there's been reissues for this movie, and but this is the old school one. This was the original. This is the themes from classic science fiction, fantasy, and horror films put up by Perez Sarabande and music by Dick Jacobs. It's basically a collective of themes from movies like This Island Earth, The Mole People, Tarantula, tons of them. So again, these aren't the actual tracks taken from the movies themselves. These are songs redone by Dick Jacobs, but again, this came out in 1978 through Perez Sarabande, and it's a fantastic album. And last but not least, for our horror collection, we have House of Terror, which I never really knew about this album. I didn't know its existence, but inside, it's got full color illustrations like a comic book for Frankenstein and all sorts of different little stories here. And it's got a double album as well. A lot of this song, or they got music from like Monster Mash are in here. The rest of it is like a read-along as well that kind of goes with the story that it's telling. Very, very, really cool stuff. So anyways, that is our collection for right now. We'll have more down the road, so definitely keep checking on us as we get new videos up. And if you have some time, check out our website at twoheartsart.com. Other than that, thank you for watching, and have a great day.